This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where dad is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, best-selling author, is my co-host today. He's also the host of the Dr. John Deloney Show, the John Deloney Show, on podcast, which is massively popular. You should be sure and check it out. You will be, you will learn things, you will laugh, you will cry, and you will be entertained. So be sure and check it out. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. With Dr. John here, we can talk about your life and your, mental health things that are going on, relationship things that are going on, as well as money. We're here to talk about you. This is all about you. Again, 888-825-5225. Jenny starts off this hour in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Hi, gentlemen. I'm honored to speak with you both. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Our pleasure. How can we help?
Well, I wanted to tell you, Dave, your new website is fantastic. So good job, whoever you hired. It's amazing.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for a great website.
Our in-house team did that, and I will give them a high five from you. Thank you.
Great. My question, I've been a stay-at-home mom for almost 5 years now. My husband and I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, almost 5-year-old. And my husband is a controller down here, and he makes about $170. And he, I would call him a very, very loyal person, employee. He has great integrity. He's just amazing. And his job as a controller down here, his company keeps acquiring other companies. And when he took the job 5 years ago, they warned him, hey, the books are a mess. You're going to stumble into a lot of problems. And this is just what keeps happening with this company. And as they keep acquiring more companies, they're buying companies that have the books that are a mess. I'm not an accountant, so I don't know anything about that. However, he just recently received a $140,000 bonus. It was 2 weeks ago. And we have been looking at already moving to different states. He's been looking at other jobs. And now it's kind of, he's in the debacle of, well, I just received this huge bonus. Am I going to look like, not loyal, just like a not great employee, not a great person if I take this bonus and leave? Or shall he wait it out a little bit longer? Would just love your opinion from both you gentlemen on what you think.
What a fabulous question.
Yeah, that's great.
So you've hired and fired more people than I have. I'm thinking through my thoughts on that. What do you think, Dave?
I really like your husband. Loyalty is a type of integrity, a piece of integrity that is a vast wasteland in our culture. It doesn't exist.
Very rare.
It doesn't exist. So I really appreciate him being what I would call old school in that regard. And but I do not think that I think he's been paid and bonused for work that he has done, not work that he's going to do. And so I don't think he's doing anything morally wrong or even violating loyalty. I'm trying to reverse the shoes for a second and say, gosh, if I was his leader and we just gave him a $140,000 bonus on $170,000 income.
Let's do a fun thought experiment, Dave. So you gave me $140,000.
I would appreciate not getting notice 2 weeks later. That would feel a little icky if the roles were reversed, right? But also, I don't expect someone to stay here when it's their time to go. You can, we tell people all the time, you can not work here and go to heaven. And so, it's not the only place to work. It's a great place to work, but it's not the only place to work. And so sometimes people's season, they run through the energy that they had for the cause. I'm not leaving, but other people have. And so I've, come to accept that. So I would think some amount of, a little bit of time. You weren't going to give notice next week anyway. You still hadn't found a job. You don't know where you're going. But if you leave in the next 6 months, I don't think you've done anything wrong. 6 minutes. You didn't do anything wrong, but it just feels icky. You know what I'm saying?
It's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
John, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm really wrestling with this one, Dave, because I'm trying to think if I gave someone $140,000, this is me being transparent. I think in some way I would be attempting to pay them for work done and buy their continued loyalty. Yeah. And I think that's a bad motivator.
Yeah, I mean, and the same thing could just be saying if I pay somebody a huge income.
Right.
But I don't want someone, especially someone I'm paying a huge income to.
Right.
To be here and not be happy.
Yeah.
Be miserable. Their time is done. It's bad enough if you're paying somebody a little bit of income and they're that way, but it's really bad if you're paying them a lot of money and their heart has left. So we always tell people, when your heart leaves the building, take your butt with it.
Yeah. Hey, Ginny, so is he just tired of the constant acquisitions? Is it a toxic work culture where people are not cool to him and then they just will throw money at him? What's the thing?
No, it's nothing like that. The people that he works for, the bosses are my age. They're 35 years old and they've just built up this amazing company, and they're amazing people. There's no toxicity at all. It's just every company they acquire, they're getting it on a deal. And so here you go, CPA controller, just work with these messed up accounting books, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything about accounting, and it just keeps piling and piling. But he really appreciates
here's a suggestion. Here's a suggestion. Number one, what controllers are supposed to do is control. That's why we call them that. Mm-hmm. And so they're supposed to clean up messed up books. That's what he says. That's what he says. If he goes to another company, there are very few companies that do a wonderful job with accounting. Most of them do an okay job or a really bad job, and depending on the size of the company, the sophistication of the company, and so forth. But, we have stellar accounting.
The only other issue was...
I think he might ask for some help. I think he might be overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's my thought.
That was two little other pieces. They've hired a couple people to work under him, but then he ends up training all the people, which is great though, because he trains them the way that he likes.
But they're going to work under him. What's wrong with him training them?
Yeah, right. So he loves that, but then also he's not in charge of any decisions too. So I think, he said 5 years, I'm putting in the work and we can wait longer. It was just kind of a bummer because, I think the bonus.
What is he looking for in the new job?
There you go.
That's different. And I would go in and ask for that here, because I think he's got a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
Because awesome. and I'm basing that, the big thing you said is these are good guys.
Oh, they're awesome, yeah.
Yeah, and if you go in and go, listen, I'm frustrated by this and this, and in order for me to think longer term about this whole thing, I need some help with you adjusting those things.
Or I need some
role. Yeah, I need some control. I need to be able to make some decisions here. I need to be able to do this, and I need to be able to implement this. And you're giving me all the work, but not the authority to get it done.
Right.
You're delegating the responsibility, but not the authority. That's a breakdown in basic leadership skills, whatever it is. But I think you could probably come at these guys and reset your job, and it might be the best job you find.
Because it sounds like they love you.
And you don't dislike them.
Right.
Very cool conversation. Nice to get a $140,000 bonus.
I'm just saying, Dave.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. If you'd like to join him on the Dr. John Deloney Show, you can Do so by emailing askjohn@ramseysolutions.com, askjohn@ramseysolutions.com, or leave a voicemail at 844-693-3291, 844-693-3291. Tim is in Hartford, Connecticut. Hi, Tim. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, how you doing?
Better than I
nice
deserve. How can I help?
Good. I first just want to say thank you. I came across some of your videos and things online have been extremely helpful and very informative. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Question I'm calling about. So I'm a physician, mid-30s, married with 2 kids. My wife and I, between both of us, from undergraduate and medical school, have about a little bit over 100,000 in combined loans. And right now, currently, we saved up a nice emergency fund savings. We actually have enough to pay off all of that essentially.
Are you there?
Sounds like we just lost him.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Maybe now? Are you there? Tim? Oh, you want me to pick back up? All right, I'll try again. I think they're messing with you in the booth there, brother. All right. Hey, Tim, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, that was all Kelly's fault. We'll just blame her. But anyway, sorry about that. So you have $100,000 in student loan debt, and you have $100,000 in the bank.
Correct. So give or take, I'm a physician in practicing mid-30s, married with 2 kids.
And what's your household income?
We're making, probably with bonuses and everything, just short of about $400.
Good for you.
And we've got about 107 in loans between us.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 50 in savings and about 130 in checking that is sort of an earmark to pay off the loans and obviously things along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The cars are paid off for a few years, very reasonable.
So your question is what, Tim?
Question specifically is, with all the pending legislation and discussion about loan forgiveness out there, and where my wife and I are kind of divided on this to get a second opinion, essentially just to pay this all off or ride this out, keep making payments and see what's potentially going to come over the next year or several years with regard to loan forgiveness.
Well, looking at that through 3 or 4 different lenses, I would write a check today and pay off your student loans. But let me give you the lenses that I'm looking at it through and tell you how I came to that conclusion. Number one, you borrowed the money, you owe the money. Waiting on me to pay off your student loans as a taxpayer pisses me off. Number 2, if they do pass this legislation, there's not any legislation. There's been a lot of discussion. I have never seen anyone except the very far edge fringe of the left suggesting any more than $50,000 worth of forgiveness, and a lot of the forgiveness proposals that have been floated are limited for high-income earners. So on a practical basis, if it did come through, it's probably not going to pay off all of your loans, and if it did come through, you are a real candidate for it being limited. It seems to be aimed at, there's a discussion of up to $50,000, there's a discussion of $10,000, and a lot of the discussions were income limited. Meaning that if you were making the kind of money you're making, you wouldn't qualify because you're an evil rich person and you must be punished in socialism. So the third thing is, just as a matter of philosophical, even theologically, the way I live my life, I just have never met anyone who had a wonderful life waiting on the government to fix it.
Right.
And so I just resist the whole idea of those idiots are coming to the rescue, because I'm old and I've never seen them do it.
Right.
All they've ever done is take. All they've ever done is take from me. They've never given me anything. And now they talk a lot, and there's a lot of, if you could monetize their words, we'd have had some money. But they just talk. And so real people do what you do. You went and got a medical degree. You have a wonderful medical practice. Just go be prosperous and don't wait on them to be your supply, so to speak. John, you've got a degree in higher ed. Yeah. What are you thinking in this?
To me, it's less about the government. It goes back to your original point. It's a personal integrity thing for me, which is I signed my name on a piece of paper. I looked them in the eye and said, hey, if you'll help me get through school, I promise I'll pay you back. And, man, you're making $400,000. I'd write this check today and high-five my family and take my family out for a debt-free dinner tomorrow night. Right.
Well, combined between my wife and I, but I understand your point. That's what we've kind of been wrestling with, is that we're obviously, doing well. We've been able to save and lived very, moderately to, save what we've done.
Right. Well, and you're going to have an incredible net worth, and I don't want you to have anything but that. Yeah. I really don't. People are like, well, medical doctors make too much. Listen, I don't want people that aren't good at their medical practice working on me.
They keep you alive.
I don't want them practicing on me, so practice on somebody else. But, I like my doctor being expensive. Yeah. It's preferable to me. I'm really happy when the dentist drives a really nice car. That probability he's not going to hurt me, and I'm pretty much a sissy. So, I like that. I want to do business with successful people, and their successful is showing up in their wallet. So I'm proud for you, Tim, that you're making all this money.
It's a mindset for me that's just making its way from folks who are making $30,000 a year that have $100,000 student loan debt all the way up to making more than $250,000, thinking, oh man, it's become a game now. How do I not pay it back, right? Yeah. And I just, you got the money in your account, pay the thing back. It's the right thing to do.
Yep. Mike's with us in Spokane, Washington. Hey, Mike, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dr. John. I appreciate you guys taking my call today.
Sure. How can we help?
So, been kind of doing long-term planning. One, I actually called you a year ago because I felt bad about getting an inheritance with you and AO. And on July 21st, me and my wife had paid off, with a little bit of help of the inheritance, $57,000 of debt. And then we have a fully funded emergency fund, all right before I got out of the Navy during this COVID pandemic. So that was a roller coaster.
Way to go.
Question I had.
And thanks for your service.
I appreciate it. So I'm doing reserves, and right now, with a lot of diligence and Uber and everything else, we're cash flowing my wife's schooling. She'll be done with dental hygiene in about almost 3 years. I'm not worried about paying for it because we're going to cash flow her stuff at community college, and then she's going to use 2 years of my GI Bill for the last 2 years out of public school. So that's all covered. But this is the weird situation. My parents do not have the greatest health. They're 51, 61, and I have an autistic brother who I love to death. He's a year older than me. He lives with my parents. Luckily, I have been blessed with a wife who is completely open and adamant about my brother living with us one day. And my parents smoke. They don't have the greatest lifestyles. The thing that kind of terrifies me is they're not the greatest with money. I've talked to them numerous times that their plan for if something ever happens to them is everything will just work out. Obviously, that doesn't work. And so I've got a wife and 2 kids, and we don't have a house yet. The plan was for us to buy a house when she gets done with schooling. Because then with her...
All right, right quick before you run out of time, what's your question?
Because my brother is going to be living with us, should we... look for our first house, a house that can accommodate my family and my brother?
No, not until he comes to live with you. When it actually happens, then you worry about it. But this could be 5 years. It could be 15 years. You do not buy a house based on your worries.
Or what might happen.
Or what might happen someday soon. But when it happens, you may want to move. And you may have a little bit of an uncomfortable period until you do move with too many people in a smaller house. But no, you buy a house for where you are today because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Folks, let's get real for a minute. Some of you are getting close to baby step 4. You're almost out of debt, almost have your emergency fund in place, and you're freaking out because you know you need to start that baby step 4, saving 15% of your household income for retirement. You have no idea how to start. That's okay. It's okay to have questions. It's okay to not know how. Most people have to learn things. And the trick is to work with an investing professional to teach you, not to do it for you blindly, but to teach you. We call them a SmartVestor Pro. And they can answer all those questions in plain English. They don't sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. When it comes to investing, you need to know what you are investing in. And when you sit down and work with a SmartVestor Pro who knows what the flip they're doing, they'll make investing easy to understand. We call that the heart of a teacher. Do something about it. Text INVEST to 33789. If you're ready to start investing, you need someone in your corner that will guide you, not do it for you. Don't put money in something you don't understand, but learn and get a SmartVestor Pro. Text INVEST to 33789. Katie's with us in Springfield, Illinois. Hi, Katie. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave and Dr. Deloney.
Hey, what's up?
Dr. John. Hey, thanks for taking my call. My question has to do with something up in a house. My husband and I are both retired. Our net worth is about $965,000.
Okay.
Our pre-tax income from pensions and Social Security is $110,000 annually.
Excellent. What do you owe? Do you owe anything on your current home?
No, it's been paid for.
What's it worth?
For several years. In talking to a realtor, it's around probably $160,000 to $170,000.
So you have $800,000 other than your house?
Yes.
Phenomenal. So how much are you wanting to move up in house?
Maybe 300, maybe to a total of 300,000.
Okay.
We would like to build a house. We have never done that before, and it's just something that be a dream of ours to do that.
Are you going to sell the one that you're in?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
And
so then you would have a $300,000 house, and you would have a $1 million net worth still. Only 300 of it would be in a house instead of 165. What's wrong with that?
Well, nothing other than just a big step. We've been debt-free.
You're going to be debt-free now because you're going to pay cash for this.
Yes, we are. We are going to pay cash for the house between monies that we have saved in savings and the proceeds from the sale of our home. And our current house has stairs, and we want to be on a ground level. What
was your career, and what was your husband's career?
My husband was a police officer, and then he went back to school as a surgical nurse, and I am in education.
And you're millionaires. I'm so impressed with you.
Thank you.
So, John, that's your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Police officer and a teacher.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's really cool. So, Katie, I'm hearing this cool story. What's the question there? Are you just nervous to pull the trigger on it?
We're nervous to pull the trigger. Exactly.
All right. There's no way a teacher and a police officer and a surgical nurse are going to be scared about this little thing.
Well,
No,
You've all done combat.
Think about it that way.
Katie.
You know what? We've always been so conservative and saved, and
How old are you, Katie?
Besides
the fact that you're 22.
65.
Okay. Here's the thing. There's two parts of this equation, probably. Number one, you have earned it. You are millionaires. You started from nothing, and as a teacher, a surgical nurse, a policeman, you became millionaires. I'm so proud of you, and a $300,000 house is not out of range. You've earned it. You are not being opulent. You are not being silly. You are not being crazy and overspending like some nutty person on the television or something like that. You have earned it, and this is a very reasonable percentage. Number two, it is not going to damage your finances one penny.
Thank you. You know what? I think we just needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your perspective.
But, there's two. Sometimes we feel a little bit of shame from having succeeded. And sometimes there's some people in our culture that want to help you feel a little bit of shame for having succeeded. And I want to just tell you, touchdown! Spike the freaking ball!
Oh, that's wonderful. It's nice to hear that from you, and we have worked really hard.
Do your touchdown dance. I'm going to see what it looks like.
You probably don't. You've worked really hard. You've saved really hard. And if you're going to pay cash for a house.
Already got a paid-for house.
That's what I'm saying.
And they're just moving up in cash.
And let's not forget, they're going from stairs to I guess more of a ranch-style house. It's going to be a safer house for them over the long haul. I
like that.
It's a great investment. Good for you.
It's just everything. There's nothing wrong in this picture. Everything screams wisdom. Everything screams you earned it. I'm so proud of you.
You waited and waited. It's so cool.
You are true everyday millionaires. Hold on. I'm going to have Kelly send you a copy of the book, Everyday Millionaires. You need to read it because you are one of them. Well done. Chris is with us in Austin, Texas. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Thank you for taking my call. I'm a little nervous, but I'll get right to it. So basically, I'm an addict in recovery. I'm trying to get my life together. Moved out here to Austin a few years ago. I've got almost 4 years clean time. And I found your book about a month ago, and it was just seemed like the obvious next step to personal and financial recovery. I got really excited about it. So I realized all the money I had saved up in my savings account was not mine because I was about $30,000 in debt. So I took the $20,000 I had and I just threw it all at the debt. Now I've got about $9,000 left.
Good for you, man.
And now I'm trying to figure out how to move forward from here. I've got the Every Dollar app. I sit down and I look at it and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to assign every dollar. And I was wondering if you had any advice on how the first steps to get started there.
Good for you.
Yeah, first, Chris, I want to celebrate 4 years, man. That's a long, hard road. And if you remember back to step 1 or 2 of your original 12-step program, you remember looking up and thinking, man, I'm never going to make stage 6, ever. I'm never going to get out of stage 6.
Yes,
but
sir.
I'm never – same boat, brother. And you're going to take this one step at a time. You're going to have a $1,000 emergency fund. You have done the right thing. And you are going to slowly start walking these baby steps, right? And you're going to work like crazy and pay the rest of your debts off. Rice and beans, you're not going to go out. You're not going to hang out. You're already a hard worker. You know what that's like. And then you're going to save an emergency fund. And you're going to have a night's sleep that you haven't had in years.
What were you addicted to?
I was addicted to anything I could get my hands on, more, I like to say. But
I like
the thing that really took me out, was methamphetamine.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord. You drive that 4 years, you're a stud, man.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's a hard one.
Yep.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So what do you do for a living?
I'm a UPS delivery driver.
What a stud.
Good.
What a stud.
Oh, man, that's awesome. What a great position.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put you into Ramsey Plus. I'm going to pay for it because I want to be part of your recovery story, the second chapter of your recovery story, all right? And we're going to teach you every little thing and make sure you learn how to do every dollar of the app. Make sure you have a coach in your corner. Make sure you go through Financial Peace University. It's all in there. I'm going to pay for all of it. And then you call us back when you're debt-free and tell us how good life is. Hold on. Kelly's going to pick up. We'll get you signed up for everything, young man. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today, best-selling author and host of the Dr. John Deloney Show, which you ought to check out as a podcast. It is, if you're not listening to it, you're one of the few. It's really going zoom, zoom. Steve is with us in Daytona Beach. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey, Dave, how are you guys doing today?
Better than I deserve, brother. What's up?
That sounds great. Well, my wife and I are in a dilemma. We want to pay our house off. We owe $127,000 on a $250,000 duplex, and she was wanting to know if she should go back to work or if we should use our retirement to pay it off. And here are the numbers: we're both debt-free. We have a fully funded emergency fund, and our retirement amount is $464,000. So, what do you think?
Total. $464,000. That's all the nest egg you guys have.
Correct. Well, plus I have a pension, a lifetime pension, and we have the Social Security.
Okay. And so, what is your income nowadays in retirement?
$48,000.
Okay.
$48,000.
You're able to live on that?
Oh, easily.
Okay. Plus, if you didn't have a house payment, it'd be real easy to live on it.
Oh, yeah, you know that.
Yeah, and so the money's all in 401ks or IRAs and that kind of stuff?
The money is in mutual funds and Roth IRAs.
Okay. How much in mutual funds that's not in retirement?
Well, it's all in retirement.
Okay. So it's all in an IRA or a 401k, but in a mutual fund or not. Okay. All right.
Correct. Yeah. 403B because I was a school teacher. But
okay, so you got $467,000. If we take out $150 to pay off taxes and the house,
right?
Then you've got $300,000.
We have $300,000 plus.
You'd have $300,000 left over, right?
Correct.
After you paid off the house and the taxes, and you can live on your income without touching the $300,000.
Oh, easily.
Okay. And you're 65?
Correct.
Okay.
My wife's 55.
And so if you don't
go back to work,
she does not need to go back to work. If you don't touch this money, the $300, if it's invested at a rate of return of 10%, it will double in about 7 years. So at 72, you'll have $600. At 79, you'll have $1.2 million.
Wow.
That's if you don't touch it.
In 6 years, she'll get Social Security too. So.
Well, but I mean, you're living on the 48. You'll live on the 48 plus. Her income will go down, but then it'll go back up with Social, right? Or she's not working now.
No, we're both retired.
Okay, that's right.
But she was thinking to go back to work.
No.
I'll pay out the house.
No. Not as long as you don't have to touch this nest egg. I mean, after you pay off the house, as long as you're not living out of the nest egg, I'd pay off the house today, and I don't think she has to go back to work because of the numbers I just gave you. Sounds pretty comfortable to me.
So walk me through that. Normally, we tell folks don't cash out retirement, but he's got this pension over here.
It's don't cash out retirement before you're retired.
Okay, there you go.
But they're retired, so they've got taxes but no penalties.
Okay.
If it's his retirement, and we can't cash hers out, she's only 55, but I'm assuming he's got enough that they can do this. But between the two of them, they'll have a nest egg of $300 left over after we cash out his a portion of his to pay off the house.
And then how do you get, what's the difference between a non-retirement mutual fund and just a regular old John went to the store and got a mutual fund?
Well, the mutual fund John went to the store didn't have any tax protections.
Okay. And
so the taxes have already been paid on it.
So it's after I get my paycheck, I'm contributing to.
Yeah. So if I need $127,000 out of a mutual fund that's not in a retirement account, I take $127 out.
Because I've already paid taxes through my payroll.
Right. But if it's over in a 401k, I got to pay taxes on it, so I got to take enough out to pay the taxes and the $127.
Okay.
So now we got a $160,000 withdrawal out of $467.
Okay. So I don't want to be taxed.
So I would have cashed out if he had mutual funds that were not in retirement. I would have used those first
because the taxes have already been paid on them.
I want to take out extra money. Okay. I want to leave as much money in there churning to make more money as I can.
Okay.
So I would have gone to that first.
Okay.
To let it. Just tax efficiency is what it amounts to. Brian is in Rochester, New York. Hey, Brian, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Sure. How can we help?
Got myself into a little situation here. So I got myself into a car lease sometime back in November of last year. Was working from home at the time, so I wasn't going to put a whole lot of miles on it. Just recently got myself into a new position as of a couple of months ago, which is now more of an outside sales position, which requires a lot more travel. So basically, I have the leased vehicle, putting a lot more miles on it now than I had originally anticipated. And I'm just curious as to what your thoughts were as far as what I should do at this point.
Well, you really got in a stupid mess, and then you made it even worse with adding the miles to it. So it was never smart, and it didn't just get dumb all of a sudden because of the miles. It was dumb to start with. So we're going to get out of it. That's what we're going to do. Have you looked up what the car's worth?
I have a general idea as to what it's worth. So it originally was about a $40,000 vehicle. It's probably now worth somewhere around 34.
Okay, look it up on Kelley Blue Book, kbb.com, on private sale. We'll use 34 for our discussion. Have you called the fleece company and asked what the early buyout is on the fleece?
No, I have not.
Okay. It was originally 40. I assume you put down nothing. Let's call it 37 is the buyout, meaning the early payoff, where you pay off the whole freaking car because you sell it. Okay? If that's the case, you're $3,000 in the hole. 37 minus 34. If those numbers turn out to be true, they're probably not going to be too far off of that, but you need to get the real numbers. And then, so yeah, you got to have that $3,000, and then we've got to have enough to get you some kind of car to drive around. But if you're putting a bunch of miles on it, whatever you're driving, you're destroying its value. So you need the least expensive car that will get the job done, which means it doesn't break down, and it's not some kind of dinky butt little smart car, because you spend all day in the car, and you're going to be at the chiropractor's office if you have that. So you need like a real car, not a pretend car, and something that is going to be reliable. But maybe a $10,000 car max. And even if you borrow the $10,000, it's better than being $34,000 in debt and running this miles up on this lease, because you're going to get hammered with the miles you're putting on it at the end. It's really turned into a bad situation.
Don't lease cars.
Period. So, folks, let's talk about that for a second, okay? 78% of the BMWs that leave the lot this year will be leased.
Really?
New car dealers make more money in their pocket on the transaction when you finance or lease a car than they do, by far. They make about 6 times more if you lease or finance the car with them than they do if you just walk up and pay cash for the car. There's not a lot of spread on cars. They don't make a ton of money. The most profitable square footage on the new car lot is the finance office. The second most profitable square footage is the shop. It is not the showroom floor. The showroom floor is the gateway drug. It's what gets you hooked. And so the average car dealer will make $1,500 to $2,500 in their pocket cash on a $25,000 car on the lease. They make $500 to $700 less if it's bank paper or Chrysler Motor and it's just straight up debt. And they make $2,500 less if you pay cash on a $25,000 car. The reason all people are leasing cars is because they're selling you that because they make more money on that than they do anything else. So please don't let them set the tone for your finances.
And when you drive down the road and see all these BMWs, just know it's not real.
Yeah.
It's a mirage.
It's a rental car.
It's a rental car. Jeez. Wow.
And it's not just Beamers. It's Lexus. It's everything. Yeah. You're getting slayed, people. This is The Ramsey Show.
This is James Childs, producer of The Ramsey Show. You can listen to all our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. Browse by topic or even sync clips to your friends. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today as we take your questions about your life and your money. Dr. Deloney does the Dr. John Deloney Show, which is a ever popular podcast about mental health issues of all kinds, relationship issues, boundary issues, depression, anything like that. Anything you want to fall into in that category, you can jump in today. He's here to help you here as well as at that show. If you want to be a part of that show, all you have to do is also you can email him at askjohn@ramseysolutions.com. askjohn@ramseysolutions.com. The phone number here, 888-825-5225. Also, in the next week or two, we're going to be doing an Entree Leadership Theme Hour, which means we're going to be taking calls from those of you about business, about leadership, starting a business, running a business, any business questions. Our Entree Leadership team and I love working with small business folks and helping them get things moving at a different level, at a faster speed than they ever have before. And if you have an Entree Leadership question and you want to be part of that hour, just email me at daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. Kelly will get in touch with you and make you a part of that upcoming show. Jeff starts off this hour in Youngstown, Ohio. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Yes, our family's all fallen upon like difficult medical problems, and my mother-in-law passed away 2 years ago, and we tried moving my father-in-law in with us, but he's developed dementia and can't stay with us, and we aren't sure like how to set up a trust for his grandchildren to protect his assets, so Medicare and Medicaid can help assist pay for his stay at the nursing home, or if that's even ethical.
It's not only unethical; it's illegal.
It's illegal, yeah.
So it's
Okay.
it's called welfare fraud. And so when you sign up for government assistance based on being poor, and you're not poor because you hid the assets, yeah, that's unethical. And the federal government has the ability to look back 5 years and undo any trusts or anything you've done to move assets out of his name to, quote, protect him from Medicare. So here's the thing. If he goes to a restaurant and buys dinner, he expects to pay for it. And when he goes to the nursing home, he should expect to pay for it.
Okay. That's why I wasn't sure. Like, he worked his whole life, and then he just, in a matter of years, everything will be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
2 years, everything he'd worked for his entire life's gone, and there's nothing.
Yeah, but nobody
his
did
children.
anything to him. Nobody
No,
stole
it's
from
not
him or anything like that. He's spending his life savings on his care.
Yeah. That he has to sell his house to pay for his care.
For his care. Yeah. Well, he doesn't need his house anymore. He's spending his money on his care to take care of him. Now, here's how much in assets do you think he has?
After he sold his home and sold his vehicle, sold everything, about $250,000.
Okay. And how old is he?
74.
And how bad is the dementia?
It goes in waves. It'll go 2 or 3 weeks. He'll be really good, and then there'll be weeks where it's really bad. There'll be people chasing him and so on.
How long has he been struggling with this?
About a year to a half a year. Since his wife passed 2 years ago, it's really progressed rapidly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so sorry you guys are facing this. It's a hard thing to go through. Okay.
Yeah.
But
thank you.
Yeah. So you guys go shopping for a nursing home, and let's look at some numbers for a second. I'll actually pull out. I've got some statistics here on my desk on this on average. Okay. So the average nursing home stay is let me see here. Where'd it go? 70% of claims are for in-home care, 12% are for assisted living, 15% for nursing home. Now, two things I want you to check on. One is I want you to start pricing out some in-home care. Has he already sold the house?
Yes.
Oh, it's already gone. Okay, so he's going into a nursing home. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's already in one, but we're trying to see what we can do best for him and protect his assets for his grandchildren.
With what you've told me, I am going to project that he's going to have about an average stay.
Yes.
The average stay nationally is 2.4 years.
Okay.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to turn your loving relative into a statistic. Okay, but if he stays there 3 years and spends $40,000 a year, he's only used up half of his assets.
His is $8,500 a month, so his is going to be.
That's ridiculous.
That's really expensive.
It is.
You need to get a different nursing home.
Okay, we can look into other ones.
Yeah, that's double.
Yeah.
Well, that's what his assets. So if he stays 3 years, everything's gone.
Yeah.
$240,000.
Yeah. The average nursing home stay in America is $50,000. That's the average.
Okay.
Means this a lot. I mean, some are cheaper.
Yes.
And yours is double.
Yeah.
And I had a relative who was put on hospice and lived 3 years. And so, yeah, it's a very real possibility. In 3 years, he's not doing well, but he's still alive. And, y'all are out of money. That's way too expensive, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the problem is it's so harmful when you're watching someone that you love that, especially when you're talking about dementia and so forth, it's heartbreaking. And then you reduce the conversation to a math formula, and that's just really tough. But the truth is, it helps me if I'm in that situation to reduce it to a math formula because I don't have the panic of running out of money.
Right.
And so I'm really glad you called, and because the main thing you've discovered is he's probably not going to run out of money, but you need to move him.
Okay.
And you've got to do a psychological 180 here, brother. This money is not, quote unquote, your grandkids or your children's assets. This is the money that is going to get him through the last stages of his life. And I'm super grateful that he was in a position to be able to help pay for that.
The nursing home is not stealing; they're serving.
Correct.
And it stinks.
Okay.
You guys
you did sign up for the freaking Ritz-Carlton. I mean the freaking Ritz-Carlton, but you're not. But they're not stealing from you. They're just serving. They're just taking
his
care
money
of
to take care of him.
It's
otherwise y'all would have been paying for it, right?
That's the mind shift.
Yeah.
That's the mindset shift you're talking about that is necessary. And so, folks, you don't quit your job so you can get unemployment, and you don't hide your assets so you can get welfare nursing home.
And you don't spend your parents' money before they're done using it, right? Because then you got to walk it back, and it feels like a loss.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good idea too. This is The Ramsey Show.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org/budget.
We absolutely believe in it.
So, taxes. Well, these days there's pretty much two ways to do your taxes. You either do them online by yourself or you pay a pro. And we're thrilled to offer Ramsey Smart Tax as a way to do them online this year. Very inexpensively, very quickly, very easily. If your taxes are simple, that's the way to do it. Simple software, Ramsey Smart Tax. We can handle all the deductions, the standard one. Or if you've got enough to make it worth your while, itemized deductions, you can do that in Ramsey Smart Tax. And if things get a little tricky, you can do an extension. You can do that with the software. If you want a refund, let me remind you, refunds are just a sign that you overpaid all year long and you got some of your money back. Santa Claus does not live in D.C. If you did overpay, you should get the refund, but make sure you change your W-2s going forward, W-4s going forward, so that you don't get refunds anymore, because that means you've just loaned the government money interest-free all year long. It's easy to get started. Text TAX to 33789. Use the promo code EASY to get the Federal Classic version for only $10. Ramsey Smart Tax. You can file online for $10. Use the promo code EASY. Text TAX to 33789. David is in San Diego. Hi, David. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Appreciate you taking my call.
My pleasure. How can I help?
Well, here's my situation. I'm retired. I own a piece of real estate that I live in, and I own a condo that is a rental. Both are paid off. I'm thinking of leaving California for another state, and I'm wondering whether I should rent these properties out or sell them and take a very substantial capital gains hit.
The one you live in are you married?
Yes.
You make up to $500,000 profit on it, no taxes at all, and there's no capital, and then there's capital gains on the rest of it. So how much of a gain have you got on the residence?
Well, after you take the $500,000 out, the gain would probably be about 1.5.
Okay.
And then I've got a condo that's fully depreciated. That's probably 1.2.
Okay. The condo you can do a 1031 tax deferred on and buy rental property in the other market and roll that capital gain into that property. Your personal residence, you can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to continue being a landlord, though.
Oh, okay. Then why would you be a landlord in California when you're out of state? Just because you hate the taxes.
I just don't want to pay the tax.
Yeah. Then cash it all out.
It's going to be almost $700,000.
Yeah. I'm out of there, though. I would not long-distance landlord. And I certainly wouldn't long-distance landlord that residence. That's a ridiculous rental property. It's too high. It's not a good rental house. It's too big.
Well, it's in Coronado, and I could probably rent it for $5,000 a month.
Which is horrible rate of return on that much money.
Well, yeah, on $2 million.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
But it's almost the principle of the thing. You just don't want to give that much money to the state of California.
Well, and it's the feds. I mean, you're getting hammered on taxes. Yeah. If you don't want a landlord, you're going to write the check for all the taxes. If you will landlord on a little bit of it, you can roll the condo into a 1031 where you're moving. I would not keep the properties. No, I hate taxes. I hate taxes so bad, I can't breathe. I hate taxes. They take so dadgum much of my money. Every time I sit down to do this with my guys at this time of the year, I spend about a day mad. It's just ridiculous. I hate them. I'm with you. I get it, but that's not going to force me to make a bad decision for my life. I'm just going to go, well, they're just screwing me again. Thank you, Washington, D.C., you bunch of parasites. You're a tick on the butt of America. And, I just have to just tip my hat to them. They got me again, and I'm out of here. Because, that's what I would do if I woke up in your shoes. I'd be selling all of it and out of there if you're out of there. I'm not staying there. I'm not keeping rental property long distance. And I'm not going to keep a property that really shouldn't be a rental property with a horrible rate of return, i.e. your house, just because I'm pissed about taxes. Just write the check, dude, and move on. If it's time to go, it's time to go. And sounds like it's time to go. Susan's with us in Lexington. Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So, our daughter got married and things didn't work out. And so she was 3 hours away. She got a job, only making about $40,000. We wanted her and our daughter close so that we could help out while she was at work. So we bought a house for her to live in close to us. We told her that the rent, she would still have to pay rent, but the rent would be manageable for her. Well, then she found a love interest, and she, despite our beliefs, she had the love interest move into the house. And we told her this is not part of the deal. If he's going to live here, because she is 28, this is against our beliefs. We don't agree with it. Your rent is no longer subsidized. So we are raising your rent to $1,000 a month.
You're nicer than me. You're nicer than me. I would have moved her out.
Well, the house was bought in August. Yes, I could have gotten fair market value. So now talking to the tax accountant, and with this man living there that's making significantly more than her, I'm going to say $100,000 a year. How do I approach this with explaining to her? She already knows that it's against our beliefs and that we don't agree with this, but she can definitely afford more than $1,000 a month. And with the tax implications,
it's not about the money.
This is not a math problem.
This is not. It's not about the money.
You're the landlord, and this is a values issue. You take her out to breakfast, and you say, "Here's the deal. This is what's going to be. You got 30 days, and this is what's going to happen."
Do I worry about the relationship of our granddaughter when she turns around and says...
You set the boundary, and your daughter ran up against that boundary. You can't hold...
Yes, she crossed it.
You can't hold somebody else... you can't hold somebody else's response to your boundaries. If she chooses to poison the well of that relationship, that's a choice she's going to make. But you're doing what you feel is best within your values.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
You strongly believe, and I do too, that what she's doing is wrong. She knows that you believe that. And the reason you believe it's wrong is you don't believe it's good for her. It's not.
I don't think she's recovered from her bad marriage.
You don't think it's good for her.
I don't think it's a good example for the child.
Amen and amen. Amen and amen.
Don't believe.
And so all of those reasons have nothing to do with you being selfish. These are all you loving her. Right?
Okay. Yes.
Your concern is for her. It's not like you have not been violated, other than the fact that she just thumbed her nose at her upbringing, but you have not been violated. You're just trying to say, I don't believe in this because I don't think it's good for people, and you're one of the people that I don't think it's good for.
And here's what happens.
And you cannot have your values and what you believe about something harming someone held hostage by the chance to see your grandkid. You're being blackmailed.
And I don't even know if you're there yet. I feel like you're anticipating blackmail. Is that fair?
I believe so. Okay. I believe that she could say, well, I can move further away.
Sure.
Yeah, you can do. You can do a lot of things.
Here's where it hurts. When you think you've done everything right, you've tried to help. In fact, you have helped. It feels unnatural when someone turns around and bites that hand.
Yep.
And it hurts.
Because it is unnatural.
It hurts.
It's wrong.
And that doesn't mean you did the wrong thing.
You still have to do lovingly, kindly, with no mother voice, just to smile and just say, honey, I love you, but you know I don't go along with this, and so you guys have 30 days to move out.
Here's where we are.
Because we can't endorse this style of life.
Your values are your values are your values, period.
Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Anna's in New York City. Hi, Anna. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you, Dave.
Good.
So my question is that I'm a public school teacher in New York City, and we're offered something called a TDA, a tax-deferred annuity.
Mm-hmm.
Should I contribute to this teacher retirement fund, even though it generates only a 6-7% simple interest?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Simple interest is fine. That's standard compounding interest, but so you can do better than 7% and you can do better than a teacher's annuity. If you have the option, it's not mandatory, right?
No, it's not mandatory.
Yeah, you need to step outside of that and do Roth IRAs. Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. Do a Roth IRA for you, a Roth IRA for your husband. Is your husband working, and does he have a 401k available?
Yes, he does.
Okay, let's get our baby step 4. We call it 15% of your income going into retirement. Between those three things, his 401k and 2 Roths, because you can get it into good growth stock mutual funds and make, at least 50% more on it than you would make there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
okay.
and it's just got a lot more flexibility. The problem with most teacher retirement packages are that it's government affiliated, obviously, and what happened was the insurance people got very involved in the early days in the 403B systems. 403Bs, you see them in nonprofits, in hospitals, and in with teachers. In government, right? And so, and when the insurance people got involved, they put in annuities which like you found, don't have a good rate of return and or are stacked high in fees. And so it's a substandard product compared to what your husband has, say, over as a 401k at his work.
I did not know that. So that means if the insurance is involved and it's only getting a 6% rate.
Not necessarily, but I mean, the insurance company, an annuity is an insurance product.
Right.
Okay. It's a savings account with an insurance company, and it's just stacked high in fees. She's in a fixed annuity, which is a horrible product.
Okay.
And then you can also get into a variable annuity, which has a series of growth stock mutual funds in it. So it starts to look pretty similar then if you can select. However, you're just going to run into much higher fees. And so you can just, 99 times out of 100, 95 times out of 100, if I'm working with a teacher, they're better off doing it somewhere than at the school system. There's just very few of them are high quality retirement plans like you'll find in corporate America.
Yeah.
Or like you can get on your own with a Roth IRA with a SmartVestor Pro, that kind of thing. Suzanne's in Syracuse, New York. Hey, Suzanne, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I got remarried about a year and a half ago. And so we sold my house, and we live in his house. I cleared $132,000 on the house, and I wanted to know what I should actually do with that money.
Okay. Remarried, so you went through a divorce?
Oh, yeah, like 30 years ago.
Oh, a long time ago. Okay, good.
It was like 22 years I was divorced, yeah.
Okay, all right. And are you all combining your finances?
No, we keep our finances separate.
Okay.
My husband does not have good credit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And how old are you two?
I'm 58 and he's 65.
Okay. All right. I think it's fine for you to do, you don't have any debt, I take it?
Just the house.
Okay. His house.
His house, yes.
Yeah. So if you're not going to combine your finances, then this money is invested in your name for you in mutual funds. I'm going to challenge that over time. It's a brand new marriage. I don't have to challenge it today. You've lived your lives as single individuals for a long time, so emotionally, the collision of the collision of your emotions to combine your finances just opens up a lot of stuff inside your brain, I'm sure. But I do want to tell you that very few people succeed financially when they don't combine their finances. So, but you don't have to do it today. But I want you to over time soften on this and be willing to reach over and pay off his house, our house, because it needs to become our house, because it needs to say in the will, you keep it if he dies, not his kids.
Yes, and I already contribute. I pay part of the mortgage every month.
Well, that's just like having a roommate, see? And so there's a spiritual advantage, a financial advantage, a relational advantage to long-term, beginning to, for this not to be his house, it's our house because you're in the will. And there's a spiritual advantage for you guys to be operating together.
What's the hesitancy?
He has very bad credit. People would take the money. Creditors will come and take the money.
What is he's got judgments against him?
Yes.
How many?
I don't know. And he has terrible credit, so we would never.
Credit doesn't. People don't take money because of bad credit. They take money because of lawsuits on defaulted debts.
Well, then he has defaulted debts.
How many? And you need to know.
Yeah, how much?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to figure that number out because it's this,
like he has cancer, but I don't know how bad it is.
Yeah, it's this looming shadow of your relationship. And so what's going to happen, or what is happening, is y'all are coming up with alternative ways to go out to eat, to use Dave's cancer analogy, but you don't even know what the problem is or how bad it is.
Right.
And so what happens is you start taking a little bit of a step here and a little bit of step to the left, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're a mile apart from each other. And you didn't mean to, you didn't do it on purpose, you love each other, but you are not on same roads, and you don't even know what the cancer is.
Yeah.
I'd pull a credit report.
So there's two things. On the practical level, I would get a full list of everything, and you all start working a plan. You don't have to put your money towards it today, but you need to start working a plan and know what the flip's going on in his life. He's your husband. And it goes with the pet territory. He's not your roommate.
Right.
And this is not a healthy relationship the way you're going into it. It's what John's saying. Now, the second part of this is when you say he's got bad credit, 3 times you've said that, I also think I heard you saying, I think he's irresponsible.
That's right.
He's never been very good with money, so he's never saved money. He has no retirement.
Do you think he's irresponsible?
He pays his bills when he can.
Do you think he's irresponsible?
I think he was in the past, yes.
Okay. If he's responsible now, he's a guy that has a mess left over from the time when he was irresponsible, and it's a good thing he's got you in his life, and the two of you can work together to clean up his mess from his former irresponsibility. But if you can't trust him going forward because he's irresponsible, we've got a whole nother barrel of fish hooks here.
Right.
Because it sounds like he's not quite being honest about what he owes or a situation. And
he's got a lot of shame about it.
And it sounds like you're not being honest about how much you kind of have to hedge your bets against him because he's not trustworthy. And that is a recipe for this thing to end up in ash.
That's why I asked you how long you've been divorced, and because if it had been 5 years and the guy before was horrible with money and irresponsible, it's easy to transfer the former ex-husband's crap onto the new husband, and whether it be right or not. And so, I think you guys need to work on you having a belief that he's going to be a good, responsible, wise man going forward. And then based on that, we're going to work through cleaning up his mess together. And even down to the end of the story being that, your $132,000 eventually rolls up into this and pays off that house, but the house is in your name. The house, you're in the will, and the house has your name on it as well if you're going to pay it off. You're going to combine your lives and your finances, and we're going to work together in a way that is responsible and wise.
Y'all have got secrets in your home, and you can't build a new marriage on secrets. You can't sustain an old marriage on secrets. Y'all got to sit down and have a truth-telling session with each other relatively soon.
Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. John and I were talking at the break. John, I want to riff on that a little bit. There's a personal finance. We've sat around here for many years. I figured it out a long time ago. I'm a finance nerd. I've got all the degrees and all the letters and licenses and crap after my name that says I'm supposed to know something about money, and I couldn't get people to do it. Because if you just do the math works.
Right.
If you do the stuff that causes the math to move, the math moves 100% of the time. But the problem is not the math. The problem is not the formula. The problem is not the process. The problem is you're injecting a human being into that process. And so we've often said personal finance is 80% behavior. It's 20% head knowledge. And with your arrival at Ramsey, we've even started to realize, I kind of had it in the back of my head, but it's been brought to the forefront in my mind even more. This whole concept, with Ken Coleman's success in the career space, helping people with their careers, and how that's tied to money, and you helping them with their mental health and relationships, and how that's tied to money, and how money's tied to mental health, and how money's tied to having a career, and the things are all interactive. There's this spin-up of all of the different things we talk about here at Ramsey. Even leadership from Entree Leadership rolls into that as discussion as well. But it's more than just personal finance is 80% behavior, because then you have to say behaviors are affected by good and bad by relationships.
Yeah. Historical ones, present day ones, a lack of them, a desire for more or deeper. Yeah, it's all wound up in there.
Disingenuous relationships, broken relationships, toxic relationships, wounded relationships, healthy relationships. And it's like we were talking the other day in Entree Leadership, all the studies and all the interviews we've done on family businesses, and what we found is that the family business is as dysfunctional as the family.
100% of the time.
If the family is pretty functional and does conflict well and has good boundaries, then they can do business together. But families that are just crazier than hell trying to run a business together, they just create a dadgum chaotic mess. Because it's a chaotic mess already, and they just plug business into it. And money's kind of the same way.
Yeah.
When your life is chaos, and there's addiction and boundary problems, and your mother goes and buys a house, mother and dad go and buy a house for you to move into, and they are strong people of faith, strong Christians, and they don't believe in sleeping around with people you're not married to, and you go move your boyfriend in, and you think that that's just okay. And you don't think this has any effect on money, as if money is somehow a separate subject from your freaking life.
They've got it, so they owe it to me.
Well, right? Or just the whole thing is this idea that I can keep the money thing over here, and I can control it in a separate pocket, and I can go over here and be to the right and be dysfunctional in any way, and it not affect the money.
Dave, I'll never forget driving home, and I think it was a radio station, and it was this breaking news these researchers had found. They had gone back to I think it was it the Holly Madison, whatever that website was for adult cheaters.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so they had scanned it all out for all the fake stuff, and then they had gotten the ones that had credit cards. These were real accounts, and then they had gone looking for businesses where these folks were attached to them. And the shocking revelation of the sociological finding was that there were more ethical complaints in these businesses where these leaders were cheaters
on their spouses.
And the question was, or the revelation was, we have separated this in the business world. We don't care about anything but results. Just show up and give us results, and we will shield what's going on outside of this building. And they were saying, we don't know if we can do that anymore because there's a correlation. If you're not a good person over here, chances are you're not going to be a good person in here. They all work together.
And those of us with common sense go, duh.
Ta-da! I remember sitting in my car going, yeah,
you guys,
yeah.
And you paid a lot of money for the study, didn't you?
I could see that, yeah. But it was, man, that stuff, where you are, relationships, and how you treat people and money.
Dave and John, how can I build wealth when my husband and I aren't on the same board, aren't on the same page, and he's being irresponsible with money and I'm being responsible?
You can't.
It's as if you can keep the question intimates that you can keep these things separate.
Right.
And there's a holistic part of this that your values and how functional you are in your life, your ability to do conflict, your ability to set boundaries, your ability to head into healthy relationships, not needs-based relationships, not I'm so lonely I could cry, so I'm going to go ahead and marry an abuser,
right?
And then think the money's going to work out,
right? It's
so, all tied together.
It's so hard, Dave, to look in the mirror and take honest stock of ourselves. And if we can't do that, which is hard, it's hard to invite people in and say, I need some honest reflection here. And that's what makes a great group of friends. That's what makes a great pastor or therapist. That's what makes somebody good, who will sit there and hold a mirror up to you and say, this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And you can say, I'm not okay, man. I don't know how to handle money. I'm not good in relationships. This whole thing is just a spiral. But you can't lock one in a closet and try to go solve the other problems.
But I can't get out of my head the lady who bought the house for her daughter, who brought the guy shacks up, and then she just wants to raise the rent.
Yeah, because as though it's a math problem.
No, well, she wanted to punish him.
Yeah.
And like that's going to fix it.
She wanted to punish him and not have any relational consequence to it, right? As though I did all these right things. I have my strong values, and so I put the period at the end of that sentence, but I'm afraid this is going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. You put up a boundary, right? You took a stand, and stands cost you something. And this is somewhat unrelated, but it's totally related. Dave, we live in a culture where the way we show our is we just thumbs down the crap out of something, right? We click the thumbs up button to show. That is not taking a stand. Taking a stand is saying, here are my values. You violated them, and I'm willing to risk your temper tantrum over what you're going to do because this is the right thing. Or in this case, I've been, this last caller.
It's more than risk the temper tantrum. It's almost anticipate.
I'm expecting it. That's right.
I'm going to anticipate your
because my values are my values. Or I've been so lonely for 20 years, I just need someone to touch, someone to look me in the eye at night, someone to tell me that I'm valuable. And so I'm going to get myself in a mess of a financial situation. I'm going to sell my home, expose myself to the fact that I may not even be in this guy's will. His kid's going to take this house. I'm going to be 70 with nothing.
He's irresponsible and run up a bunch of bad debt, but I don't even know how much.
I don't even know, but I love him. Yeah. And I want this part of this to work.
You love the picture,
the idea
that's not real.
That's right. That's right. So it goes back to that's a great analogy. What is this actual true picture? And Dave, it's hard for us to do it on ourselves, and that's why you got to have people in your life to do it with you. Yeah. It's hard, man.
So what I wanted to cover really in this segment as we riff through this is that you cannot separate the mathematics of personal finance and move them to the side and them operate properly when nothing else in your life is operating properly. You know, like 100% of addicts eventually are broke. 100%. Because the addiction overtakes every element of their life, including their money. 100%. They either start the recovery process or they go completely broke. You cannot stay addicted over a period of time and become wealthy. It's just you cannot make enough money.
And there's no accident that how many times are we going to do a debt-free scream and they say, by the way, we all lost weight.
By the way, our marriage is so much better.
I'm a better parent
By the way,
now.
my career got better.
Because I got honest and I got intentional.
And I cleaned up the rough spots of those areas while I was working on this money stuff, and it all caused the money thing to win too.
Right. It all worked
the likelihood of you fixing your money stuff and not working out the details and the rough areas of the rest of your life is almost zero. That's what we're saying.
Which makes it worth going in with both feet, man.
Yeah, you got to go all the way in when you're going in. This is The Ramsey Show. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us, America. Open phones this hour at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Amanda starts off this hour. Dr. John Deloney is my co-host today, and she's in Cincinnati. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
We are getting ready to list our house in about a week or so. We already spoke with a realtor, and she had originally recommended to list the home between $345,000 to $355,000, kind of creating a bidding war. My husband and I are somewhat concerned that that's going to leave money on the table, that with this market the way that it is, we could list the home higher and still possibly get a bidding war for this area.
Okay. Well, it's just a matter of where the bidding stops, not where it starts.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Let's say you list it for $355, and the bidding runs it up to. You said $3, right? $355?
Yes.
Yeah. You list it for $355, and the bidding runs it up to $400. Or you list it for $375, and the bidding runs it up to $400. You still got only $400.
Right.
My point is where it ends up. It's not where it starts.
My question is, what is it about your real estate agent that makes you think you and your husband are smarter than the professional you hired?
That's a good question.
That tells me either you got a crappy professional, you need to get a new one that you trust, or you and your husband need to dial it back about 30% and let the professional you hired do their job. So what is it about this person?
She is younger. So that's always a concern. I've not worked with her before.
Is she one of our ELPs?
She is not. She is a very determined young lady. She has been contacting us. We've been in our house for almost 20 years, and she's been contacting us often throughout those years to check in to see how things are going, to see if she could offer her services. So she's very proactive in trying to drum up business, which was impressive.
How many houses did she sell last year?
I let my husband pick her. I didn't do the research, which is not good on my part.
Yeah, this is a $500,000, $400,000 transaction, and you're hiring a professional. You need to know how often they sell a house. If she sold 4 houses last year, you've got the wrong person.
Yeah.
You don't want a neophyte guiding you through this market. This is not a market this is not amateur hour. This is a weird market, and what you're worried about is, can she handle the bidding process? And if she's done 5 or 6 of these in the last 2 months and can walk you through the transaction, knows exactly what happened, we'll talk about this. And she sold 50 houses last year, we'll talk about this. If she sold 3 houses last year, you know more about it than she does.
Yeah.
And Amanda, I'm giving you a hard time. I just got friends who will go, get an X-ray, and the doctor will say, "Hey, I think it's this," and they'll go, "Nah, that's not right." And I'll think, why did you go to that doctor? Or they'll get a roofer out, and they'll be like, "That's not the problem," and the roofer's like, "All right, man." And so I'm just always curious as to why people hire professionals, and then they go, "Nah, that's not right." I got Google. I'm smarter. So yeah.
Well, we have. So the problem that we've run into is we've hired many professionals, or what we thought were professionals, and we're either not able to get them to do the work. Most of them, we can't get a call back. So,
yeah.
And then we just end up doing it ourselves and trying to figure it out.
Have you already listed the property and signed the listing agreement?
We have not.
Circle back, re-interview her, go online at DaveRamsey.com or at RamseySolutions.com and click on ELP and interview one of those people or 2 of those people and pick among those 3 based on their experience and their ability to show you that they know how to navigate this whacked out white hot market that we're in and how to navigate the bidding process. So, John picking on you is one thing.
Yeah, I'm giving you a hard time, but
but the truth is that you don't.
The
truth is he did call out that you just don't have confidence in her.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the end of the story right there. So we need to either gain confidence in her by circling back one more time and comparing her to 2 others, or drop her. I don't care how persistent she was, And so because you need someone to navigate this, and I think either way you could end up at the 400 mark or whatever the mark is, whether you start at 355 or 375, if you've got someone that knows how to navigate that process and juggle those multiple offers coming in, set the deadlines, set the table properly where there's a bunch of urgency for the 10 people that want to put in an offer, and go, guys, here's what we're doing. And, it doesn't matter if you started at 300 if everybody keeps ratcheting up and gets you to 400, right?
Right.
So, again, the starting position doesn't matter. Who can navigate this market? It's not amateur hour.
And Amanda, this is me being honest here. I'm that. That's why I'm the pot talking to the kettle here.
No, I do it.
My wife, it drives her crazy. Why do we hire people, John, if you're just going to disagree with them after they tell you what their professional opinion is?
Because I don't take you need to be able to defend your position.
I love that. I agree with you.
The first baby we had, we go in and I'm asking all these questions because I didn't know anything about it, and and I'm like, no, what about this? I read about this. And he's like back and forth and back and forth. Well, the nurse that was in there thought it was ridiculous that I was asking all these questions like you just said.
Yeah.
And so she called me Dr. Ramsey every visit after that. How are you doing today, Dr. Ramsey? And I'm like, well, honey, maybe you're not used to people questioning whether you know what the flip you're doing or not. But I'm paying you. You work for me, and I'm happy to ask you if you're competent.
And what I've found is true professionals love teaching about their craft.
Oh, she was good-natured about it. That's why the whole Dr. Ramsey sarcasm came out.
I had a roofer out the other night, and they did some work at my house, and I had a question about some of the work they did. They came out, and man, once I started asking questions, he loved teaching about roofing, and he knew exactly what he was talking about. He left his tool with me and said, you use it, you bring it back when you're done with it, because I'm right. And
I want the bulldozer guy to do that.
That would be cool. That would be awesome.
You use this over the weekend, and I'll be back.
That's right. I got a moisture meter. You got a bulldozer. But yeah, I love asking questions to professionals, and the ones in my experience, the ones who don't have an attitude about it, but are excited to talk about what their craft is. The doctors, want to send you research articles, want to have a good discussion with you. I love that. The theologians that want to do that.
But if they bow up and they're like they're arrogant and they're like, listen, I'm the doc. I'm like, well, listen, no, you're not anymore. I'll get another one.
Yeah, I'll get another one.
Because I'm going to know enough about what's going on to make a decision.
And at least ask good questions.
Well, I'm steward over my life.
Yeah.
I have to manage my life.
That's right.
And you don't manage my life. Yeah. You're just a part of what's going on. And, the mechanic working on my car, same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not calling you a crook. I just want to understand enough to know why we're getting where we're getting. And I'm going to critically think with you once I grasp it through this process.
That's right.
Not micromanaging, but I'm good with this.
I want to learn. But
you're what is it about your real estate agent that makes you want to question the professional?
I love it. Amanda's good.
This is awesome. This is the Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Have you ever made a dumb decision with zeros on the end because you didn't do your research? Yeah, me too. Check your facts. As we were just talking about, if you're moving a piece of real estate, if you're trying to sell a piece of real estate, particularly right now in this wacky, crazy market, it's not amateur hour. You need a pro in your corner. Never buy a house without the facts. Text HOUSE to 33789. That'll get you in touch with one of our real estate ELPs, an agent who is a high-protein, high-octane agent moving a bunch of properties and knows how to navigate this market, especially if you're selling in this market. Text HOUSE to 33789, 33789. Megan is with us in Greenville, South Carolina. Hi, Megan. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
I guess I just don't know where to start. My husband and I just got married in January.
Congratulations.
We're renting. Thank you. We're renting. I just started a new job last September. I'm a lawyer, and he just switched jobs working for a big steel company. Now he works for my parents' company. And I'm 3 figures in student debt combined with his. We have about $10,000 in credit card debt. Probably $30,000 debt in cars. And like I said, we rent, and we're kind of at our breaking point. I have like $200 on our checking account, and we just don't know what to even do.
What is the actual balance on the student loans?
I'd say about $175.
Okay. And what are you making?
I make $75.
What's he making?
$50.
Okay, so we have $125,000 to attack this with. All right. The great news is you have a good degree. The bad news is you paid a lot for it, and you're deeply in debt because of it. So you're going to be shoveling a while.
Yeah, and that's hard because I know that a lot of that is me. I'd say I've got about 150 and he's got about 25, so together about 175.
So tell me about the cars. Are they 215s or a 20 and a 10 or what?
One's a 2016 F-150 and one's a 2015 Acura. We're upside down in the F-150.
So what are they worth each?
Worth.
Or what do you owe on each? What do you owe on each of them?
I owe 25 on the F-150, and we owe 10 on the Acura.
Okay. You need to sell the F-150.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
What if we're upside down in it? Like,
I don't care. You need to get rid. You're going to have to borrow the money to cover the difference, or scrape up the money to cover the difference. So you owe 25 on it. What do you think it's worth?
Maybe 20, maybe 19. It's got 175,000 miles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that $5,000 gets you out of that thing, and you need to get a beater car to drive because you have $175,000 worth of debt to clean up. You don't need a $25,000 pickup.
Okay.
It's out of control. I mean, you have a $600 truck payment.
No, it's $645 a month. It's crazy.
Almost like I've done this before. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of law are you practicing?
Civil defense. So defending companies that have been sued. And going back to the student loans, I guess I have the option in the future to go work for the government, and I know that you work for them.
No.
Oh, okay.
You need to just keep working there and go double your income in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's what.
And I know that that's coming because I make 75 now. I'm sure that a raise or a bonus.
I think you'll be making 100 pretty quick and 150 pretty quick after that, if you keep on a standard track, for an attorney, and you have a decent firm and all that kind of thing, and hopefully your husband's income will continue to go up as well. So here's what you've signed up for. You need to get into a beater car and get rid of the pickup, and then you're going to get on a written game plan, a detailed game plan called a budget, and you're going to live on nothing and just clean this mess up. And it's going to take a while. $200,000. If you do $50,000 a year, that's going to be 4 years. If you do $75,000 a year, it's going to be 3 years.
And that means every big bump you get or every bonus you get.
It means you're not going out to eat, you're not going on vacation, and you're not buying a house. You're broke.
Yeah.
And listen, I spent years working with lawyers. I love them. And they will look at your car in the parking lot and then look at you with that disdain that, what did you do all this for if that's what you're driving? And they're going to ask you while you're renting. They're going to ask you, man, you got a mess to clean up.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The reason why I called in today was because that's literally the question I've been asking myself for the past month. Like, why did I go to school this long? Like, why did I take out all this money?
Because you're going to make 150 3 years from now.
Yeah, and it will.
And besides that, you can't unring the bell. It's there, so let's just deal with it.
Yeah, asking backwards questions gets you nowhere.
I wouldn't have signed you up for it, but you're signed up.
Yeah.
So now it's about, hey, what are we going to do to get even? And then, when you and your husband, when he's making great money, you're making 150, and you've made partner. If that's even what you choose to continue to do, you owe nobody any money. That stacks up real fast.
So I want you to think about $75,000 a year on debt, which means you're going to take all the OT. He's going to take all the OT. You're going to do anything you can to create income, and you are going to spend nothing. That's going to be very hard this year. Next year, your incomes will go up. It'll be easier. And the next year, your incomes will go up again. It's going to be even easier. But that'll get you out in 3 years. You'll be 100% debt-free in 3 years if you do that.
And you passed the bar exam, so I know you can figure out a way to do this.
Yes, I did. So you think selling the truck first, that's the first order of business?
No, we're going to do it all at once. We're going to get on a budget, live on nothing, and sell the truck.
Okay.
But list your debts smallest to largest, pay minimum, cut the credit cards up. They've not been a blessing.
No.
Time to chop them, time for plastic surgery.
Okay.
And he's going to feel like a dingbat driving up to his construction sites in a 2014 Camry, and y'all are both in it, right? You're both in it.
You're in it to win it now.
You don't care what other people think because other people are broke, and you're gonna.
So Megan, do you think this will work?
Yeah, I think it'll work. So I think we've just got to do it.
All right, I'm going to help you do it then. I want you to go through our class. It's called Financial Peace University. It's inside of a membership called Ramsey Plus. I'm going to pay for it for a year as your wedding gift.
Oh, thank you.
And the two of you need to sit down tonight and start going through the class. Get one of those coaches in your corner. Get that community in your corner. Get on Every Dollar, the budgeting app. It all is included. It's all free. I'm giving it all to you free. And I want you to work this because you can do this. Mm-hmm. You can do this. But you have a big mountain to climb. But I've been to the top of it a bunch of times, like 1,000 times this week with people. And so I can show you the way to the top of that mountain, and you're going to make it. If you'll do exactly what we tell you to do, I can get you out. But if you screw around, start coming up with your own plan, or you water it down, or you start whining, you're not going to make it. But if you roll up your sleeves and bow into this, plow into it, you can do it. Hold on. Kelly will pick up, and we'll get you signed up to go.
I love it. Man, and you get a lawyer focused on something, you better get out of their way.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't get through law school unless you have a level of determination, perseverance.
If you can grind and grind and grind for 3 years, that's what you're asking her to do.
Yep.
And they can do it.
Yeah, she just finished grinding for 3 years, now 3 more.
That's right. And what they're going to do is going to get real resourceful. They're going to find new jobs. They're going to find extra jobs, and they're going to knock that thing out.
Yeah, it's going to go. It's going to go. She can do it. Absolutely, she can do it. There's no question about it. I'm positive of it. And you know, the interesting thing is, you know why? She believes she can.
Yeah, that's right.
And but I mean, if you run the numbers, you make $125 now. You live on 75, or you spend 75 on debt. That leaves you $50,000 to live on.
No, you're still having.
That's the average household income in America. Is $59,000.
You're doing just fine. That's right.
Yeah, it's not like we're actually struggling here.
No.
I mean, there's a bunch of taxes coming out of that, and of course you're evil rich people. So the current president's going to tax your butt off. It sounds like, but you know, that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, you're going to get there. You're going to make it, in spite of Washington getting in your way.
Go, go, go.
This is the Ramsey Show. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. That means even if you mismeasure, you pick the wrong color, they'll remake your window blinds for free. That's a if you screw up guarantee. Who does that? They do. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run all the time, you'll save even more. I love this company. Blinds.com. Use the promo code Ramsey.
All right, today's question comes from Amber in Georgia. Amber writes, my husband has 3 children from a previous marriage, and we have 4 together. He's required to pay child support until his kids are 21 if they live at home and are in college. The oldest is 20, did 1 semester of college, and moved out on her own. He is still paying child support for all 3 of them! ! How do I make him see that he is literally taking away from our financial peace by continuing to support the oldest child? This doesn't sound good, Dave.
Well, she doesn't live there anymore. Why are you sending her mother money?
No. He is. I think what she's calling child support is he's continuing to support her. Probably not routing it through mom would be my guess. But maybe he is. Maybe he is still routing it through mom.
He is still paying child support for all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like she's, I mean, that's silly.
Yeah.
If you want to help your 20-year-old, that's a different discussion. But if you're not required legally to pay child support to the ex anymore because the 20-year-old moved out, then I would definitely stop that.
Right. This is a separate conversation from child support. This is a conversation Dad needs to have with the oldest daughter, and Dad needs to have with his current wife, Amber, and say, here's how we are or are not going to support folks.
Yeah, I mean, it might be okay. There may be a situation where I would help the 20-year-old, but it would not be a legal child support obligation to help the 20-year-old.
Right. It sounds like, and I've seen this before, that Amber's been counting down the days and the dollars till she can start seeing some of that money loop back.
Yeah.
And the reality is, Amber, these kids are always going to be his kids. And there's always going to be some sort of desire in his heart to see them be successful. What that looks like is going to be different, which is mean y'all got to work together on this conversation. You can't, again, we're back here to ask.
You can't count down until they're out of his life because they're not going to be.
They're never going to be out of his life. But she, again, is circling back to making this a math problem. How can he see that this money is given to his child is hurting our financial situation? This is not a math problem, right?
Yeah, so you signed up, Amber, with a man who has kids. And so he's not going to quit having kids. They're there. Those kids are always going to be there. Doesn't mean he always has to give them money,
right,
but they're always going to be there. And there's always a potential that that father is going to want to help his children that are not your children, and that will always affect your financial peace. And you signed up for that trip, kiddo.
That's exactly right. I wrote, the note I just scratched out is you married him, right?
Yeah.
You got 7 kids between the two of you.
But having said that, on the technical aspect of this, I would not be sending child support to my ex-wife that I'm not legally required to send.
Correct. I would be having a grown-up adult conversation with my grown-up adult child.
She's not getting the 20-year-old's not seeing the money anyway. X is putting it in her pocket.
Well, if that's happening, that's
you
a whole...
can tell that the 20-year-old doesn't live there anymore.
That's a whole other situation.
You think she's funneling it off to that 20-year-old? She's not.
Yeah. So
in that sense, I'm with Amber.
Absolutely. If he's still sending money to his ex-wife,
that needs to stop.
With a wink and a nod, that stops immediately.
Yeah, that needs to stop. That needs to stop the day you're not obligated. Now, that does. But the fact that he may want to and actually should help his 20-year-old. I don't know what the 20-year-old's doing. I don't know what the situation is.
Right.
She's out of the house. She's out of college. We know that from this call, according to the email anyway.
But I want to go back to her pronouns here. How do I make him see that he is hurting our stuff?
Yeah, that's bad.
That means our needs to sit down and have an hour conversation. And this starts with Amber pulling him aside outside of a fight or argument or a check writing day, and this is over a meal or over a date. This is when y'all go separate.
Yeah, and
say, what's the plan here? And that's, are you going to, do you?
No, this is, how do I make him see he is literally taking away from our financial peace by continuing to support the oldest one?
Right.
Wrong.
Exactly.
That's just, that has bad spirit all over it, kiddo.
That's right.
And that's pronoun based bad spirit. And so, you signed up for this. He's not gonna quit loving his children.
Right. He might quit sending them money.
If you want him to, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah. And if Amber pits the 4 kids they have together against his 3 existing, that's awful. It's unethical. It's not a. He's the dad of all 7 of those kids, and needs to be present and active in the lives of all 7 of those kids to some degree, right? That doesn't mean he's got to send them all money, but it's not. Hey, these are our 4 kids, and those are y'all's 3 kids. No, those are all 7 of his kids.
You don't get to slice those over to the side and hope they go away,
because they're not going away. If he's any man of any character, they're not going away.
Right.
He'll be their dad forever.
Right. And it does sound like, Amber, that you've...
sounds like Amber's been counting down the days till these 3 are out of their life.
You've put a big machete right between the 2 here, like crashing down. So they're
a part of your life.
Yep. You need to embrace that he needs. So the way the conversation should go is she sits down with him and says something like, "I think you should be there for your kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't want to be married to a man that wasn't there for his kids." And but sending your ex-wife more money than you're supposed to legally is not on that list.
That's right.
And so we may need to help the 20-year-old, and we're going to always be there without being enablers for all 7 of these kids to the extent we can be. But that does not mean we have to send the ex-wife child support that is not legally due.
And now that we've got 7 kids and one of them's hit the age of 20.
You're stealing from my kids to give it to your kids.
That's
the way this sounds.
That's how I read it. And hey, here's an even easier way to ask this question. Hey, we're going to have to deal with this 7 times. We've got a 20-year-old. Let's start wrapping our head around how we're going to support. Are we going to pay for tuition? Do we have that kind of money? Are we going to pay for rent? Do we have that kind of money? Let's go ahead and have those conversations now, because they're going to come 7 more times.
Yeah.
Right? Do that together.
Very good. Amy is in Berkeley, California. Hi, Amy. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
So I'm a self-employed attorney, another attorney from
I love it.
It's the lawyer theme hour on the Ramsey Show.
I'm a single mom of 2 kids. We've kind of outgrown our house in Berkeley, and as you may know, the housing market in the northern Bay Area is kind of crazy.
Yeah, always
really
has been.
Expensive to move up.
Always has been.
Yeah. But so I prepared it for sale since last November. And the goal was to move to a lower cost area where we have some family, either Houston or Florida. I've gotten a little stuck and I've not been able to actually list it for sale, but I need to make a decision about that or else selling 2 investment properties that I have.
Why are you
I have
stuck?
about 45.
What are you stuck on?
I think I'm tied to the house in some respects. I in 2009 with the recession, then I went through an almost foreclosure. I fought against my lender in order to keep the house and was able to,
You're not going to make a bunch of money on it when you sell it?
Yes, I will.
Are you stuck psychologically, emotionally?
Psychologically, yeah.
I think it has something to do with the move. I think, it's psychologically or emotionally.
I think you need to decide whether you want to have this adventure or not. And if you're going to have the adventure, everything needs to be sold and you need to go have the adventure.
Yeah. Move to Texas, move to Florida, start over. You're obviously a really smart, really tough.
Big old pile of money in your pocket.
Brilliant woman, yeah. Go for it.
I'm for the adventure.
I am too.
I like the adventure. But
And
don't leave breadcrumbs back to the cave, though. Sell everything.
Yeah. And if you've got a psychological attachment to this house, it's got to go. You and your family come first.
Our scripture of the day, Isaiah 66:9, I will not cause pain without allowing something new to be born, says the Lord. John Wooden says, things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. Travis is with us in Buffalo. Hi, Travis. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Dr. John. How are you guys doing?
Great. How can we help?
Okay, so, me and my girlfriend have been going out for 2.5 years, and we're living together, and when it comes to money, she kind of does her thing, and I kind of do my thing. I follow you guys on your steps and everything, and, my question is, how do I not get her, to tell her to jump on board, but, to understand, what I'm doing.
What are you doing?
I'm on baby step number 2.
No, I wasn't. I was being a little bit facetious. What's your future with this woman?
I planned on marrying her in the next probably year or so.
Does she plan on being married to you back?
We have talked about it. I mean, that is definitely one of our future goals. We also talked about kids and all that.
Okay.
So, we do plan on having a future together and all that, and it's to keep with my steps and everything else like that, I want her to understand, how I deal with that.
So, does she not like it, or she doesn't agree with it?
She kind of does her own way of things. If she needs something, she'll go get it herself. And, I've kind of been, on the front of, I don't know exactly if we should start working together or as a team before marriage, combining income and all that, or anything like that.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
How old is she?
she's 25 as well.
Okay. All right. The problem you're having is it's hard to be sort of married.
Yeah.
It's like being sort of pregnant. And you're trying to act like you're married in some ways and not act like you're married in other ways, and it's not working because it doesn't work. And so we see this all the time in couples that are shacked up. They have a very, very difficult time because it's legally and relationally unwise for you to combine everything, and yet you're trying to act like you're married, which would indicate that you would combine everything. And so I don't really know how to advise you well on this.
Yeah.
Unless you just decided, okay, we're going to live in two separate places and date, and we're going to start talking about the value systems that we have, about saving money, about spending money, about debt, about our future and what it would look like if we were to combine our households and if we were to get married. How are we going to make them one and on the same page? And you can try that while you're living together, but it's going to be very difficult, as you've already discovered. And so, I think you can, that's probably the first step, actually, is you say, look, we cannot operate our lives for 40 years, 50 years going forward the way they're operating now, on two separate pages, on two separate planes. This is not a recipe for success. If we're going to have a future together, we're going to have to start figuring out how we're going to put our life together and what it's going to look like.
And the wedding ceremony is not the joining it up. It's the life that you build intertwined with one another.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. In other words, you don't have to convince her of anything except that that not being on the same page is a deal breaker. Because, dude, it's a deal breaker. It's the number one cause of divorce.
Yeah. Like, for me, it was just, I felt like I'm not meaning as in, like, joint income. It was, like, because I was for me, it was, I was spending so much because we did the separation for a while and try to make it work. But then I was like, for me, I was financially spending too much on travel and food expenses and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're missing what we're saying. You're trying to make this a math problem, brother, and this is not a math problem.
Yeah.
This is a unity problem.
Yeah, this is the two of you don't see the future the same.
Correct.
And therefore the future is not going to be together until you can see the future the same. And so we need to have a conversation that sounds like, if we're going to move forward in this relationship and move towards marriage, then we're going to have start talking about the four things that affect marriages: money, religion, in-laws, and kids. And if you can be in agreement on those four things in your pre-marriage state, pre-marriage counseling, engagement period, those kinds of things, you can come into agreement. You don't have to have kids, but you just got to say, I don't want 6 kids. Well, I want 10. Well, we got a problem. I think kids ought to be able to make up all their own decisions from the time they're 3 on. I don't. I think they ought to do what I say. Well, that's going to be a problem. I think my mother ought to be able to come over here and tell us what to do. Well, I think that's a problem. In-laws, kids, problems, money. I think I ought to be able to spend whatever I want to spend no matter what. As long as I make money, it'll be my money, and you make money and you take care of the rest of the house. Well, I don't think that's how we're going to do it. Problem. So you need to be in agreement on religion. I don't think there's a God. I'm sure there's a God, and I think people that don't think there's a God's an idiot. Well, then that's a problem. And so, you need to be in agreement on marriage, money, in-laws, and kids, and your pre-marriage state. Otherwise, you don't have a candidate for marriage.
You've had a fun roommate and maybe a good compadre for the last 2 years, but you don't have someone to build an entire future with together. I think you've got to go sit down and say, where do we want this thing? If it worked out perfectly, what would we want this to look like, and reverse engineer it? Right now, it sounds like, brother, you are just stumbling and tripping, and I think I'll do this, and I think we're going to do this, but I'd like to do that.
Even your verbal pattern is very uncertain, Travis.
Yeah.
It's like you have no certainty about where you're headed. And so you need to sit down and go, if we're gonna move forward in this, or you could just languish in this. You can choose that. But you're asking us how to get get on the same page, and it's lay out what the page looks like on all of these things and go, we need to start talking through these things if we're going to move forward. It's not just, can we share the mustard?
That's going to be on my T-shirt.
Yeah.
Marriage. Can we share the mustard?
Can we share the mustard? Because, if you got 2 things of mustard, that's what you have with a roommate. Yeah. You got 2 mustard. That's my mustard, your mustard.
Yes.
And right there in the door of the refrigerator. And don't touch my mustard. Don't you remember college?
Sharpie. Yeah.
So that's Dave's mustard. Don't mess with Dave's mustard.
Hey, so I know you should probably be asking me this question, but you've done this for way longer than me. So I came into marriage almost 2 decades ago with a very clear list of the things I wanted, values I thought were deal breakers for me, things that I was really firm on. Here's what I think about kids. And probably the most recurring theme over the last 2 decades is I was wrong, right? I thought I wanted this many kids, and I thought...
as long as you're in agreement...
That's okay.
All along, I don't care.
That we're going to solve this
together. You could get married saying, I want 10 kids, and 5 years later, the 2 of you have traveled the world, and you go, I think the 2 of us are looking at each other going, we want a Chihuahua.
Or you have kid 1, and you're like, I'm out.
Tap out. That one right there, that did it. That second one, that did it for sure.
But the key is we're going to make these decisions together.
Yeah.
Not ours and yours and mine. It's
not
ours.
But you can't come in and go, you get married going, I want 10 kids, and then you go, I changed my mind unilaterally without discussing with the other person.
Yeah, it's not a showdown.
Yeah.
That's right.
That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free screen live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.